Hi, this is Giles Obrecht, and welcome to my Talking Guitar podcast with Angus Young. If you're a fan of AC/DC and its astounding lead guitarist, you're going to love this interview. Angus, the man with the $1,000,000 vibrato, begins with a heartfelt discussion of his brother Malcolm, whom he insisted was a far better guitarist. He also talks about their older brother George, who found worldwide success with the Easybeats and went on to produce the early AC/DC albums. As our conversation progresses, Angus details how AC/DC creates and records songs, his strategy for soloing, his love for SG guitars and Marshall amps, his favorite AC/DC songs, his thoughts on other players, and much more. This never-before-released interview took place in a San Francisco hotel room on October 22nd, 1983, during AC/DC's Flick of the Switch tour. As soon as Angus and I wrapped things up, I interviewed his older brother Malcolm. You can hear this conversation on YouTube as well. I hope you enjoy listening to them. Are you familiar with Guitar Player, by the way?
I've seen it. It's an old magazine, and it's been around for a long time.
About 16 years.
Yeah, I've seen it once or twice.
Oh, I should have brought some.
No, but I know what it is. So.
This is a February cover story. We're going to put it on. Why do you suppose that you're a guitarist instead of a bass player or a drummer?
I don't know. it was the first thing I picked up, that I had fun with.
Was there ever a time in your life when you had to make a decision between a straight job and music?
No, I left the job to do this.
What were you doing before?
I was a printer.
Ah.
And I just got out as quick as I could. I used to play at night, and not turn up all the time. So they were quite happy to see the back of me, and I was quite happy to see the back of them.
Right. If somebody wanted to hear the essential Angus Young, what cuts would you tell them to listen to?
Oh, it's a hard thing. See, I never look at it as a solo, thing. It's as a band, because we all play together. The guys all around me, it's just like a little team, and I could tell you the best songs.
What do you feel those are?
Well, I like Let There Be Rock very much. Rosie, I love Back in Black, the song Back in Black. What Do You Do for Money, Honey? I've got a list, endless.
Yeah. Do you play all the solos on the records?
Yeah. My brother's too lazy. I reckons it interferes with his drinking. His right hand.
What's the difference between you and your brother's rhythm styles?
I'm just like a color over the top. He's the solid thing. He pumps it along.
Yeah.
His right hand's always going. And I think he's probably in that field. I don't think anyone could do what he does. It's very clean. It's very hard. It's an attack. Yeah. Anyone that sees him just goes, what? Or anyone that knows, about guitars.
Do you think it's difficult for him, with you being the most recognizable member of the band, the person on the album covers?
Nah, he was the one that shoved me in the first place.
Really?
Yeah, he's the one that, he got me and said, I want you to do all of this. In the early days, we used to fool around on some of our first album. He would do a little bits of guitar. We would double up, swap, do a solo here, a solo there. Because he was always Malcolm's more experienced at it than me.
At playing solos or rhythm?
Anything.
Really?
Yeah, he knows what he's doing with it. He's got his own style, his own sound and everything.
Do you think the two of you could switch roles?
Oh, I could copy it. I don't think I could fill it. You know, not like he does. I could copy it. You know.
Do you think he could copy you?
Oh yeah, he.
A soloist?
Yeah, I look at it this way. That's the easiest part. Is the soloist. You know, there's no great singing being a soloist. I think the hardest thing is to play together with a lot of people and do it right. I mean, when four guys hit the one note at once, very few people can do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think the fact that you're brothers affects that? I know that like the Van Halens and the Schenkers feel, they've said that they can feel the same rhythms with their brother just instinctively, and they know instinctively what he's going to do. More so than they have with any other musicians.
I don't know about that. I just think as brothers, you can sort of shout each other down. You know, you can sort of go, hey, you know, you can say to me, cut that out, and I can say, cut that out.
Yeah.
So you've just got a good rapport.
Do you think he inspires you to be more proficient?
Yeah. He's very high standards, so you've got to be good in his way of playing and everything. He's very, not only, he's very musical minded, but he knows that you can go to the extremes, the overindulgence thing, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, when he says to me, I want you to make it rock, you know, if we were in a studio or something, you know, and we get there and I have to do these things like solos and that, you know, and he'll say, I want this to rock like thunder, you know, you've got to make it rock, you know, and just saying it something like that, rock, make it rock, and you know exactly what he means.
Does he ever want you to redo solos?
Yeah, if he thinks that they don't, if they're not happening, yeah. If he thinks it's not rock enough or doesn't suit what is with the song.
Yeah.
And it's mainly the songs that we worry about. You know. It's that level of it. I mean, I won't sit there and spend 12 hours on a guitar solo. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I feel it's a pointless thing. You know. I just like to go in and just go, you know, let me hear it, bang away on it.
How do you approach co-writing songs?
Well, if we sort of, the three of us, well, me, Brian, and Malcolm, we usually will get together and we just thrash out whatever we've got, you know. You know, if I have any ideas on a tape or something, I'll play them. Malcolm the same. We just combine them all in a way. But, you know, every now and again he might have something that's really good and I'll say, what if you try this? Or he'll say to me, I want you to think something here if you can. So I'll try and think of something. You know.
Does one of you usually come up with a chord progression or the riff?
Yeah, it's either, it's got to start from somewhere. But it basically can be anything. It can be a title, it can be, you know, Brian can say, I've got a good line here, and suddenly it might just inspire you somehow.
Yeah. What's important to keep in mind when you're writing AC/DC songs?
The important thing is you can only, I think that when we do a lot of stuff, you have to look at it that, like most other people can sort of just go, bang, 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 there's a song.
Yeah.
And that's the end of it. You know, they don't. They forget that what sort of style they can stick to. Basically, most bands in the world can sort of chop and change their style.
Right.
You know, into anything. You know, they can do reggae, they can do soul. We can't. We have that style of playing. It's what we do best. So you can write songs, but it mightn't be AC/DC. You know? Yeah. So you have to think of that all the time. There's a lot of stuff you just go. And usually it's a big chunk of material that we just go, you know, keep this, that.
Do you play any guitar styles that aren't on any of the albums?
I could bullshit my way through it, yeah.
Yeah.
I think anyone can. I think who's got a bit of rhythm, you know, can sit there and go, well, give me something like a Spaniard, you know.
Yeah.
You can do it. Give me something that sounds classical. You can do it. I mean, it's been proven. People,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, most people, I mean, can bang away. I mean, it mightn't be Andre Segovia, but certainly you can get that style. You know. It's just being creative, you know. If somebody says to you, I want it to sound Chinese, you try your best to make it sound Chinese.
Yeah. But you're not a closet folk picker or anything like that?
Nah, I do play with my fingers on stage. I don't think people, I mean, you can't see it, but I mean, I play, Malcolm plays a lot with his fingers.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of picking he does. You know.
Huh.
And, but it's just a thing, it's part of your rhythm, you know. I mean, the two of us always slap every time, you know, like this.
Yeah.
You know, this hand's always banging something. Maybe that's good or bad, I don't know.
Do you feel that your playing is usually progressing, or do you ever get in slumps?
Nah, I've never gotten a slump really to playing. You know, because I never got that serious about it. You know, I never sit there and go, "Wow, geez, you know, what's happening here?" You know?
Yeah.
I just I know what I can do, and you know, and it's just a matter of sitting there and fiddling around with a guitar.
Yeah. Do you ever write songs in the studio?
And yeah, a lot of times. You know.
Really?
Yeah, there's many a time we'll get in there and we'll just say that guy. We might even be in the middle of a song, you know, and we'll just say, "Oh, stop! Put the tape on." You know, and you know, somebody's got a blow or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we work with that. We've written a few songs like that.
Do any come to mind?
Well, all our early material was basically written in the studio.
Huh.
We got in there and Let There Be Rock, Rosie, most of it. You know. We had a few ideas, and but we just used to go in with the ideas, and then really do the big percent of it in the studio, arrange it and everything.
Do you rehearse it before?
Then we didn't. No. Nowadays we try to save time. We don't like spending too much time in the studio. We get in and we just rehearse, get the band together in a rehearsal stage, try and get as much done as we can, get as many songs as possible, and then take them and go in the studio.
Do you have a fairly good idea what you're going to do with the solo?
What I'm going to do with it? No, I never worked that out before, unless there's an important part, you know, if it's part of the song, you know.
But have your recording methods changed much over the last few albums?
Yeah, I think so. Well, this new one we done it ourselves. We wanted it a raw. You know. We always were a raw sounding thing. We just wanted it more free of the reverbs and the effects. And, you know, I mean, we've always, you know, it's like you like a natural drum sound. You don't want this, you know, gigantic echo going on, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of people sort of go, wow, what is that? You know, because sometimes it sounds like oil drums or something.
Yeah, right.
You know. But no, we tend to go for that, keep it raw idea of it all, because that's really what it is. It's rock music. It's meant to sound like that. You know.
Do you ever record the basic tracks all together?
Yeah, that's what we do all the time. All the back tracks, we always do all together.
So the drum, bass, and rhythm guitar?
All the guitars, the two guitars, the bass and the drums, all together. It's the only way you will get that feel happening.
Do you set up the same way in the studio that you do live?
No. There's times we've experimented, you know. We've been in, I think, for those about the rock, I mean, we had a lot of equipment there, because we done it like we brought in a mobile and recorded in a big rehearsal room to see what we can get away with. And I mean, we used a lot of equipment there, you know.
Yeah.
But basically, any other time we've gone in and just used normal amps, just use 100 watt with a couple of cabinets. You know,
Do you play loud?
No, not really, no. I don't think it's loud. Most people, it's what you call, uh, people hear distortion, they think it's loud.
Yeah.
And we keep it as clean as possible.
Huh.
If you keep it that way, the cleaner you do it, the louder it'll sound when they do the cut and everything.
Yeah. You move around a lot on stage. Do you move around in the studio?
Yeah. My other brother taught me that trick.
Are you related to the Young and Easybeats?
Actually, he's the one that, him and Harry Vander, they done all our early production.
What's the relationship?
Brother.
Really?
Yeah.
The guy that did Friday on My Mind?
Yeah, he's done that. And a string of others.
That was the only well-known Australian band when I was growing up.
Yeah.
They were big.
Oh, well, they were a forerunner of Venison, you know. I mean, their rock stuff was, you had the Zeppelins ripping. I mean, there's a hell of a lot in that band that come from them. You know, their music, their style, you know. There's a whole stack of different people picked up. Bowie
Yeah.
liked it, and I think Stewart done one of their songs. But they do a lot of stuff. I mean, they do rock. They go into the commercial field, you know. They experiment, you know.
So when you were a little kid, your brother was in one of the most prominent bands around, right?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
That must have been quite an inspiration.
Yeah, it was, but they still kept us away from it.
Your parents did?
No, I just think it was just the situation, because they were at the time of the early stages when there was a lot of people didn't know how to react and things, you know.
Yeah.
Because in school you got frowned upon.
For having rock and roll?
Nah, well, that, yeah, but you also had it when if you were sitting in there, you could be picked on because you were obviously, your brothers or your family was an influence to rebel, you know.
Of course.
Yeah. So that at that time, you know, it was better for us not to be sort of pushed at it, you know.
Were your parents supportive of your decision to be a rock and roll
No.
musician?
Nah, not really. They thought you better off doing something else.
Yeah. Do you ever double track solos in the studio?
Nah, I've never, as I said, it's never been an important element. I'd rather go for something that was natural than a double track thing.
Some people do it to make it extra thick.
Yeah, but you can do it that way. I mean, you can make it quiet. I mean, you can add acoustic guitars to bring it down. You can do a lot of tricks like that. You know? But I mean, we've done things in the past, you know, but it's mainly been the natural thing that we always ended up with. You know.
Are you one to splice?
What's that? Edit.
Yeah, punch in different sections. Like if you got a weak first quarter and then the last 3 quarters of the solo is too good to throw out, will you punch in the first quarter again?
It depends if it's an effect they make. You know. In other words, if you've got to bang the hell out of your guitar, you know, hit it with a coat hanger or something.
Yeah.
You know, then you may have that because it's going to be a lot of tune and everything. And you come in, so you go for it. But then again, I've done it. My brother George used to say, right, I want you in here. Just rub the thing up and down against the glass, you know.
Or the studio glass?
Yeah, and just or whatever was lying around. He said, we want it wild, so you made it wild, and then you go, right, now we got that bit. Right. Now I want you to do this. I'm going to punch you in here, and you go, blam.
Yeah.
You know, and you fire away. And then you would go, jeez, thinking you're finished, you know.
Yeah.
And then you go, right, now we're going to do it all in one. So, you know, there's a lot of things like that. So you got it into your head whenever you went in there that you always went for whatever, tried to get it all in one.
Yeah.
Because it has to
In
flow.
one take?
Yeah, if you do solos and that,
Yeah.
it has to be basically because there's got to be continuity to.
Do you ever surprise yourself? You hear something back and you go, whoa, and you wonder if you'll ever be able to do it again?
Yeah, but see, you get the thing of you just got to remember in what sort of frame of mind you were when you done it. You know?
Yeah.
You try and capture the same thing.
So your emotions are tied in with the way you play?
Yeah.
Can you reproduce everything you recorded?
Yeah, I think so. I think we do it possibly live when you've been playing it a long time.
Yeah.
You tend to find all the little holes and things. You may add things in or subtract them, you know.
Yeah.
So you do that. When you come to do it, it's a different thing. When you do it in the studio to on the stage, you may do it a bit faster.
Yeah.
Or you may do it even a bit slower to get that. It's just how you do it on the night with the people. You know?
The energy.
Yeah.
I noticed that a lot of your solos on stage were real close to the ones on record.
Yeah.
Like in She's Got the Jack. That was pretty close.
It's just how you. I think it's how you hear it in your mind and what you try to stick to it because a lot of people get condemned for it, you know.
Yeah.
And it's always good if you can do it, throw it in, you know, but still keep that feeling in there.
That's what the kids want to hear.
Yeah, that's true because you don't want them to go come in and say, "No, that guy's playing something else," and he's trying to play Beethoven on top of that. You know?
Are any of the solos particularly difficult?
Difficult.
Yeah.
It depends. If somebody says, you know, you're rolling around the floor and I want you to spin at 100 miles an hour, and then the other playing, you know, Whistle Dixie or something, it can be. But I think it's just the style of it might be difficult, you know, but I don't think the actual thing itself is. If you know what you're doing, I think.
What's your philosophy of soloing? What do you think an Angus solo should do?
Should do.
Yeah.
I just want it to add to it. I don't want it to take away from it. I don't want you want it to. I mean, you don't want it to suddenly, you know, you hear this raging solo over a song that, you know, really it should be sitting in there, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sometimes it can go over the top. You know, you can sort of, you know, guys will try and get in every lick they can get, you know, cover every bit of space. And we just like to go with what the track requires, you know.
I noticed most of your solos are blues-based.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for that, yeah.
Do you have a way of constructing them? Do you work out of the chords? Or is it just spontaneous?
Mainly spontaneous, you know. I mean, there's some things I've played and I'm going, how the hell did I do that, you know?
Yeah.
Or, you know, you can sit there and you could try and figure it out for years and go, geez, there's nothing to match that, you know?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, in the early days, if you were playing a chord or somebody said that's an A chord, I wanted to play a solo that is in A. Yeah. But then again, there might be progressions in there or something and it doesn't sound right. It just sounds like, you know, you're playing in the wrong key or something.
Sometimes that works, though.
Yeah,
in a surprising way.
It does, you know.
Do you know what you're doing in musical terms?
Haven't a clue.
So you don't sit around and work on new outrageous scales and stuff?
Nah. I think I think for people to do that is basically for their home use or whatever, you know. And unless you would if you were teaching music to children or whatever and they wish to know it, yeah, you can see it from a teaching point of mind, or some people who are very technical minded, they like to know how everything works
Right.
to the exact, split
Right.
second. And if you're that way, I mean, I suppose it's good, you know. But me, I'm basically, I just, I can sit there and play it, and I know how to get a sound of what I want.
Can you play most everything you can hear in your head, in your imagination?
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, in a point, this is what I try to do, if I hear it going,
Yeah.
then I'll sit there and go, right, make it do that. And for some unknown reason, I can get away with it. Even if somebody else was doing it, it would sound horrible. But somehow when I do it, well, it seems to me that it's right.
Will you take chances on stage and go into an uncharted territory or try something you've never done?
Mm. We always try, if in little bits of songs or anything, intros or anything, we may fool around, pick it up. We try to keep little spontaneity, magic, in songs. If we're building something up, that's when we do a lot of blowing.
Yeah.
If we sort of bring a song down and bring it up. Songs like the Jack, you've got a little bit of room to do, like, as you say, blues things.
Yeah.
And this is how we always look at it. There's always that spontaneity, because it's those sparks that's going to make you take it further, and you need that to make it rock.
Will Malcolm ever change a part on stage?
Oh yeah, rhythms, yeah. He'll do something. We've all got these things in our head that make us do different things now and again. It's just to make it swing.
Uh-huh. Is it hard to put out so much energy? Do you have to do anything to keep your health intact?
Don't eat pizza.
No cheese, huh?
No cheese. Not really.
Do you ever have difficulty if you're feeling ill or tired?
Yeah, you get it, but you have to think, well, it could be worse. I could be somewhere in some club doing free shows or something.
Yeah.
Or you could be working.
Do you do anything to keep your sanity on the road, your health?
No, not really. I just try and take it easy.
Yeah.
Relax a lot, because that's when if there's nothing to relax, you could be going all the time, which could damage your health.
Yeah.
Hello? No, later. I don't know. You'll need to consult the people who own the room.
When do you play your best?
I don't know. I usually think it's when your mind's clear.
Yeah.
And that's possibly it, or if your mind, you're totally blank on what you're doing, and then you just go and woof.
Do you think about anything on stage?
It's funny that, no. It's like two different people, It just sort of splits.
Really?
Yeah. To me, it goes like the whole thing it's over and done within 5 minutes.
Oh, the show?
The whole thing, yeah. It's like watching a movie. It just goes.
Adrenaline rush, huh?
Yeah, I think something like that.
Sometimes you'll go out into the audience.
Yeah.
Have you ever run into danger doing that?
Oh, yeah. You get a lot of thing, you always in the back of your mind, if you do that, that's the only thing I consciously, if I'm doing something like that, because there's been times I've just taken a run and jumped
right
in an audience, without anything, and you don't, those I never think of, but if they, if I go in the audience or something and these people, this guy's going to do, see, they're all told he might do it, or he might not, or he might do something else.
Right.
Just keep your eyes open. The whole idea of it is the biggest thing is you don't want anyone in that audience hurt.
Or you don't want to get hurt yourself.
Yeah, but also that's a big thing too, because a lot of those kids are in there and they're all packed together. They can be crushed, anything like that. So that's a big thing. And if it's too much going on, if there's too much people together, and I mean, they'll just say, don't do it, or I'll say you're too much.
Do you have a body of guys who go out on?
They've got a couple of security guys.
Yeah.
But they're mainly there. They're the two guys are there mainly for the protection of the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, every night they'll go up and instruct all the security people. We want this. Yeah, I'll have a tea roll. Tea?
No, I'm fine, thanks.
Yeah.
Has your striptease ever presented problems with authorities?
Oh, yeah.
Are there some places you can't do it?
Certain places, yeah.
Japan?
Japan, they told me I couldn't do it. Somehow I did, and got away with it. It just depends. Certain countries, Spain, when I first went there, they said, you can't do these sort of things. But then again, as soon as the people from the authorities come and laugh,
Yeah.
so you've got the thing. But I remember once there was when we first toured through Britain, and there was a big campaign to stop us playing everywhere. And the thing was, they used to send along the vice squad,
Yeah.
and these people they were embarrassed about it all too. They couldn't see that there was any wrong in anything I did.
Didn't you have trouble for lyrics in one place or another?
Yeah,
Florida or somewhere?
you get places where they wanted a lot of money put up if you were swearing or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it just shows that they have childish minds, really, and they shouldn't be interfering. It's got no. I mean, they're only just taking away part of your freedoms thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I mean, if you go out and really, it's just a piece of music.
No deep meanings, no inciting to riot.
Yeah, we're not. I mean, we have been rioted upon by police and things. And we've had all of that, but I mean, we're not telling people to do this. This is their own natural reaction.
Yeah.
The biggest percent of people who come to our show, they like to chant along to the songs that they know really well. They like to throw their arms in the air.
Right.
And they just like to release a bit of energy. There's no thing of this is aggressive.
Yeah.
I suppose that the reaction of it, if they see people going like this or doing that,
Nodding their head or shaking.
yeah, if they were doing it in the street, somebody'd say the guy's crazy.
Yeah.
You can see that. I could see that, but I can't see it when they're all together and in a show and they're all having fun. That there's anything at all aggressive in it.
I was surprised at how young the audience is. It seems like younger than the last few years ago. I was probably the only guy over 30 in the place I could see.
Yeah, it seems there's a lot of people come, young people come now. I think it's me legs.
You've been known throughout your career for your SG.
Yeah.
What's the appeal of that guitar to you?
I had one, the first one I had, and I've still got it now. It's, when I first bought it, I thought this is, to me it was like a gift, not a gift of thing. I mean, I bought it and everything. It was just that it was something I always wanted those guitars.
Yeah.
And when I went into this shop and I picked it up and I played it, and it was so easy for me to play, And I got it, and I always thought it was just a run-of-the-mill Gibson, that they were all basically like that. Or
Yeah.
you might get better ones, you know. And but over the years, I've never found one that was the same as it, you know.
Is there a wide difference in tones from one SG to the next?
There is. I've never come across two that's the same.
Really?
Yeah.
How many do you have?
I think I have about 15, 16, maybe 7 in there.
Do you know what year your favorite one is?
It's about, I would say, maybe 67 or 68. It used
Huh.
to have one of those metal things on the back with a little arm, tremolo.
Oh, the vibrato arm?
Yeah, well,
The
with
kind,
a white.
the kind that would go side to side?
No. It's just a white little, like,
Came off the
pearl sort of-
tailpiece?
Yeah, you got a toe with all engraving on it.
Right, and then this was off the side of it, like,
Yeah, but it wasn't like one of those early ones. I think I know the one you mean, the one that wobbles
right.
like from this way. No, this is just like a normal, like you find.
Did you replace that bridge and tailpiece?
On a couple of them there is, but on the ones that the original one I did, but I've got a couple of them that have that piece now still.
Do you ever use the vibrato arm?
No, not really. There's songs I can do it for the sake of convenience, you know, for tuning or something. If you're on stage, I might swap one and just use it just for the sake of.
In effect?
Well, some songs I use it on in the studio. I would go, bam, 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 you know. But it was mainly I would do it with the key, you know,
Right.
because you get a. I think you get a better. Because with the key you can go up the way or down the way.
Right.
With an arm you can only go one way, you know, down. And I've got one that I'll set up and put there, and if I want to use it, I might use it just for the song.
Do you record with any guitars other than SGs?
No, I've just used the SGs. You know,
Huh. What kind of necks do you like?
I just as long as it's thin, you know.
Thin and sort of wide?
Well, not really so much the wide thing, but most of the ones I've got. Well, the first one I had a very small, thin neck.
Yeah.
You know, and I showed the guy, I remember a guy from Gibson coming out once, and he wanted to do some photos of them, you know, and look at the pickups and things. And he looked, and I said, "Can you get me one the same as this?" You know. And he went, "I've never seen one like it." You know? He'd never seen one with this neck. It was so...
Maybe it was shaved.
No, it wasn't shaved. It had come direct from their thing. There was not a thing. It was all... This was the first one I had. And it was all the original pieces on it. You know?
Uh-huh.
Had bone here and had all the original... Because you can tell when they've been shaved and everything. The lack has gone on them and everything. And nothing had been done to it, you know. I just... It's like I've got that and I've got another guitar that's a reject, you know, which is in...
A second?
Yeah, and it's an incredible guitar, you know.
Huh.
And I said, if you can make me a few more rejects, I'll like them too.
Do you leave the original pickups on?
Yeah, I tried it. They do good. Well, those pickups that they make do good. I've even got a couple of their newer ones that are really good.
Do you have trouble keeping it in tune? Especially like when you jump off the
when you
amp?
jump off and things and that. Yeah, you can have problems, but it's basically down to the guitars. Some guitars sit well.
Yeah.
The tuning will stay in, you know, no matter what you do. And other guitars, I've got a few of them that won't, for the love of anything, stay in tune.
Yeah.
You can just use them for a second and they go out.
Huh. Do you have the strings changed every day?
Yeah, every show they have to change it.
Does somebody play them in?
No, they just give them a tug.
Really?
And they just pull them in. And then I'll get a hold of them and pull them in when I get there. Just make sure that they stay. Nothing worse than going on stage.
Being hitting that chord.
Yeah.
Do you modify the guitars?
Um,
Change the wiring or put
Not really, unless there's an earth problem or something. You know, if they've got
A grounding?
Yeah, they would fix that up. But basically, no. If there's some of the pickups, I've got a few different pickups. A guy made for me once that he experimented around with, you know, and he knows how I like guitars because he used to repair them all the time. You know?
Yeah.
And he'll just wire them up. But basically the same. If I'm in England, I'll use him. If I'm here, I'll try and get a Gibson one.
Do you remember his name?
It's a guy called JD. He's from Birmingham in England. He used to work with another guy called John Birch many years ago.
Yeah, he used to make guitars.
Yeah, well, JD used to work for him. JD was his quicker pupil.
Do you use your knobs a lot on stage? Your tone or volume controls?
Mainly the volume. You know, I stick to the one sort of tone.
The tone is flat out?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
Do you have an effects board or any effects?
No,
You just have the wireless?
just the wireless thing.
What kind is that?
The Schaefer.
You like it?
It's probably for me, it's probably the best. You know,
Uh-huh.
I've tried a few other ones and they sort of cut out, and you know, you can only sort of go so thinking. The further you get away from it,
The weaker it is.
the weaker. His will stay. I don't know about it. His seems to keep going, you know. Even if there's obstructions. I've been outside buildings and played with that, you know.
Huh.
And it still really fires up really well.
Do you ever pick up radio signals?
No, except in some cases where they go to a town where they've got a big radio on top of the building. Or something.
Right. What's your amp setup?
The amps, they've got a big custom thing that Marshall built us, and I've got the rest are all 4. Well, they've got about 8 up there, but I think they use 400 watts.
What's
Each
the big
100
custom
watt
thing?
heads. I don't know. I think it does. It goes from about 400 down.
Is this a one giant amp they made?
It's just a big giant amp. Yeah.
It was made at the Marshall factory?
Yeah.
You know what the watts is or anything?
I think it rates about 350 true things, I think, or something.
Do you run through the PA as well?
No, they just go straight, use the mics, and straight, nothing direct, except the bass. They take a DI for the bass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How important do you think equipment is?
Well, I like it to work. That's a big important thing. You know? But they use on the stage thing. You know, it's basically we know how to use all those amps and everything, and they always seem to do it good. They always repair them after all the tours and
Yeah.
fix them all up, and they're a good, reliable amp, Marshall.
Yeah.
I've ever had problems with them.
What kind of picks do you use?
Picks, it varies, you know. Last night they gave me a bundle of somebody made Dean Markley or something. I use Fender ones.
Heavy gauge?
Yeah, thicker the better.
How do you hold them?
With my fingers.
With your index and ring or middle?
Yeah, I just hold it anywhere it sits. Sometimes it slips, you know, and you're playing it with your pinky, you know.
Do you use your other fingers as well?
Yeah, it's all it's all going at once, you know.
When you bend strings, do you use one finger or put a couple behind it for more stability?
I sort of use I've only got the small hand, so I use all my fingers to bend it. I push it.
So you use your other fingers to back it up?
Yeah.
How far is your reach
Reach?
on the fingerboard?
Oh, very small.
Really?
Yeah, it's, you know, if I have to do something, you know. Your fingers tend to, I don't know, whenever you, like me, when you sort of sweat a lot,
Yeah.
it seems, your fingers seem to go for miles, you know, they'll stretch of their own, they'll go, ooh, But as far as
I've noticed that with a few players.
Yeah,
like Van Halen's like that. He's got little hands, but they go like this.
yeah. It's just. I think it's just this when you've got a lot of sweat and build up or
Right.
everything.
They get loosened up.
Yeah, they get really loosened, and that's basically where a lot of it, it comes from.
I'm sorry. Is most of your speed from your left hand or your right hand picking?
I think a lot from this.
Left hand?
Yeah. Because there's a lot I can do without picking.
I've noticed that you did several solos with one hand.
Yeah, there's just, it's how a lot of things when I was smaller and I wanted to learn to play, I thought, well, maybe I'll toughen this hand up,
Yeah.
But then I found it was always easier just to use the two as much as possible. Don't think of technique or anything, just play it. I mean, if you play, some guys play chords with their thumb, guys with their pinky, and that's how I sort of learned from myself. I used to play my thumb with things, and I used to make up my own sort of little chords, what I could do here and there, and I just use them. And if I can't, I'll try and think of some other way. I don't know any sort of positions or any things like that.
Do you know if you have any unusual techniques that you haven't heard others do?
Jesus. I don't know. There's so much going on in the world these days,
I'm sorry.
I've never found much of it. I mean, whatever you've played somewhere along the line, guys have either ripped off or your people like Hendrix were always abused by it. Everyone got into that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I never.
That's true. You really don't. I've never heard you copy very many people on records, which is really to your advantage because it gives you one of the most distinct sounds of them all.
Yeah. Well, I just sit on what I can do. I feel, if anything.
Yeah.
And I try to work into that.
How do you produce your vibrato?
That's just.
Do you use your fingers more or your wrist?
It's fingers more than anything, Sometimes I'll shake the neck a bit, Because those necks get on their cheeks get wobbly sometimes.
Yeah, you can get some weird effects that way. Are there any players out today that you admire?
What with a guitar?
Yeah.
It's not really. I mean, you get bands that you see. If you like a band, I like it more like that. When it comes to solos and things, I always think a guitar. It can be exciting in rock music. It's very tough and can be very hard. And as long to me, if it's somebody said, "I want it," this is a rock band. You like to see it hard and tough. But. A lot of that seems to be gone. People just seem to be worried about how many tricks they can do.
Have you ever jammed with any of the major guitar players?
Nah, I've never been. I don't think I really. It's not been a thing that ever appealed to me. I've never had the idea to go, even if. Somebody, from anyone said to me, come and play with, I couldn't, I don't know. It doesn't give me a thing, because I know basically when I play with the guys as AC/DC, that is what makes it for me. That's what makes the sound and everything.
Yeah.
Outside of that, it's different. I mean, if I was standing there playing on it, you go,
on your own?
Yeah. So, I mean, I need, and like my brother, he always, the two of us together, it's the combination,
Are you happy with the direction the music's going?
Yeah, because it's always been our favourite form of music, just this tough thing. It's what we started with, And it's what we always had to fight with, and we're still fighting with it now. So
Yeah.
you're still always pushing. And I think that's the good part about it. There's nothing you can sit back and go, oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to play God now. Or,
Is there anything you'd like to accomplish in the future?
That's a hard one, because we were always, because you're always, when you're on the road and everything, you're basically concentrating on that. When you're on doing an album, you're doing, you're concentrating for that too.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't know, I just would like to be around in a few years, still banging away, but not being boring. I just wanted to go further.
Yeah. Is there any advice you'd
Make
offer?
more noise.
Is there any advice you'd offer a struggling young rock guitarist?
Yeah, don't eat pizza. That's one.
Anything you want to add? Questions you always wish somebody'd ask you?
Jeez, I think everyone covers them, Nobody ever asked me about my shoes.
What size foot you wear? It's funny, I interviewed Van Halen one time, and he told me that his band had instructed him on a couple of occasions to play like Angus.
His band?
The guys in his band asked him to play like he could make the song like AC/DC.
Yeah, that's rough on him, I think.
Yeah, I think it was more chords, the chordal approach to the song, because
he does fiddle around a lot.
Yeah.
It tends to be like guitar exercises.
Yeah. It's a little wild sometimes.
But I mean, you got people like Hendrix or whatever. I mean, they knew how to rip the hell out of it, but I mean, they still knew that they had to sit and, there had to be a rhythm in there too.
Yeah.
And I think that's what gets missing a lot nowadays. People tend to go for this. Let's go back to, it's a bit like Deep Purple, the old days, which it's all technical, but there's none of the rhythm to back it up.
Who were the bands that turned you around when you were coming up?
I like the Yardbirds, some of the early Who,
Cream?
Stones. Cream, I liked one or two songs. Their early songs, I don't know if you got them here, were very much pop.
Oh, the
pop
fresh
music.
Cream stuff.
Oh, they had so
I
many.
Feel Free.
Yeah, where I was, they had so many singles, it wasn't funny.
Yeah.
There was even one like, it was about a tennis match. Anyone for tennis? And it was like basic, something to earn them money. And I mean, here's these three people that's supposed to be very talented, and it didn't, I think it just didn't do them any sort of justice for what they were. I mean, and it proved it in themselves that when they stuck, they said, oh, squash all this bit and let's make what we know best, the music.
Yeah.
That's always the most important part, the music thing.
Yeah. Well, that pretty much covers what I'm looking for.
Ah, good.
Very good.
If I come, it depends if you come off a show and you're running around,
Yeah.
then you still are virtually a bit crazy.
Sure. You're still pumping.
Yeah, that's it. Your adrenaline's still flowing. And the only times I've ever noticed that to get weakened is if it's been incredibly hot in a building. If it's, you're playing somewhere and the degrees is right, like New York in the middle of summer where it's all humidity and like this, and there's no air conditioning. You've got all these lights pouring on you, and then you at the end of it you can't. You can barely walk.
Yeah. Do you ever hurt your head whipping it around so much? I think that'd give you headaches and stuff.
I've never. With that, I've never had any. Once I've done it, when you first start, you're going to get sore bones and a bit. But I've never had any really headaches from it. I've had headaches traveling,
Yeah.
you know, or something like that. Sitting around for 12 hours gives you a headache,
Yeah.
you know, because you're not doing anything.
Do you ever pick up a guitar when you're in the hotel, or?
I haven't got one with me. You try, if you're on tour, you look at them and you go, I think I'll take one back tonight, you know, and then I'll go, we'll let it sit there.
Yeah. Do you ever play slide or with open tunings?
No, I know how to do it, you know, but I've never, fun maybe, I might fool around, you know.
Yeah.
Use a microphone stand to try it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that sort of thing, I mean, there is people who sort of specialise in it, you know.
Yeah.
And it was people who were good at it, you know. Like the old Dwayne Allmans and people like this. I mean, they were slide, I mean, that was their style. I don't know what you call a bottleneck or whatever.
Yeah.
The only things I never liked are those ones that
Oh, the steel guitars?
yeah,
That doesn't do anything for me either.
they're a bit like bagpipes, you know, a bit like a cat meowing. You know.
Edited versions of my interview with Angus and Malcolm Young were published as Guitar Player magazine's February 1984 cover story. Before signing off, I want to thank my podcast producer Nick Hunt, the staff of UNC's Southern Folklife Collection, and my YouTube subscribers for your much appreciated support. If you'd like to help us continue to produce podcasts such as this one, you can hit that donate button and send some support our way. Thank you.